It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
I just didn't know where you got Valentino from.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview Rick Valette, an NHLPA Certified Agent. How are you doing today?
Good, Brandon. How are you?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to work in professional sports as a certified agent?
Well, I don't know if anybody ever knows they want to do that. Things evolve in your life and, opportunities come up and you're exposed to different industries. And when I was with Prince Albert, I was exposed to the agent industry because I was dealing with the agents with my team all the time. And so when I left the Raiders, I had an opportunity from more than one agency that asked me if I'd be interested in joining them. And I actually said no to begin with. And I went and did some other things, not for very long, and then I called back and said, "Yeah, I've changed. I think I'm good, so I'm gonna jump in now."
What was your time like being a GM for a hockey club?
That's a big job. The major junior hockey. You're in North Carolina, right, Brandon?
Yes.
Yeah. So there is no major junior that I'm aware of in North Carolina, and major junior is big business. Not unlike perhaps even college sports where you are. And running a major junior team is a big commitment. Um, it's not really a job, Brandon. It's a lifestyle because it's 24/7.
What was it like becoming the CEO and the general manager for the hockey club?
Yeah. So titles titles are interesting things. So when I was operating that hockey club, I had all the responsibility of the team. I had a board of directors that I had to report to, but the day-to-day operations, whether it be the business side of it or the hockey side of it, the scouting side of it, everybody reported to me, and it was a very busy job.
Of course, with the hockey club, was it a minor league team? So would it be affiliated with, of course, a major league team like Carolina Hurricanes?
No, so Major Junior is an umbrella under the CHL, the Canadian Hockey League, which is junior hockey in Canada and the United States. There's some franchises in the United States as well, Brandon. And so it's for kids 16 to 20 years old. And it's probably the top development model, or one of them anyway. Colleges are good too in other countries, but one of the top development leagues for the National Hockey League. You'll watch the NHL draft. A lot of the kids that get drafted, or some of the kids get drafted, come out of major junior.
What was a typical day in the life of a general manager?
So that was different depending on what we were doing, whether we were planning, doing business strategy, we're doing marketing campaigns, meeting with my marketing folks, or whether I was out scouting, or whether I was with my team, or whether I was recruiting, or whether I was doing contracts. So, it was a variety of jobs every day. And that's what I meant when I said to you earlier, it's not really a job, it's a lifestyle. You've got to put a competitive team on the ice. You need to fill your building so you have the revenues. There's a lot that goes into that job.
What was the process like of recruiting and scouting out players?
So in Major Junior, we have in Western Canada, for the Western Hockey League, we have a Bantam draft. And the Bantam draft is, so there's 22 teams in the Western Hockey League, and you pick an inverse order, the same as the National Hockey League. And we had a full scouting staff. We went to a lot of events during the course of the year. We ranked players. We had endless hours of meetings. And then it was a draft system. And then you drafted players, and then you signed them or convinced them to play on your team or to be part of your organization. Then you signed them to a contract, and away you went.
Were the players coming straight out of high school, or were you getting players out of college?
No, there's no players out of college, or very few. There was the odd one. Most of the players came from bantam slash midget hockey programs.
What was the transition like from you from going from a general manager of a hockey club to working with the NHLPA?
So the NHL Players Association is an umbrella organization, and so we're under a collective bargaining agreement with the NHL. So we don't work with or for. We're associated with, and we have to follow the rules, as we should, of some of the are the NHL and the NHLPA, the collective bargaining agreement. And what's it like? Is that what your question was, Brandon?
Yes. What was it like transitioning from being a general manager of a hockey club to working with the NHLPA?
Yeah, it wasn't very difficult. It's a different world. You know, I think that um, being an agent, Brandon, is about collective bargaining, understanding the agreement. It's about understanding the National Hockey League. It's about it's about being able to put together contracts and valuations. And so being an agent is an awful lot like studying every day and researching every day.
What was the process like of becoming a certified agent?
So for me, it was different. I mean, I think there's a bunch of paths that you can take. For me, I joined a firm that was already established, and so I just had to apply, fill out the paperwork, and as long as you meet all the criteria, you're going to be accepted and certified.
Of course, what are different ways people can get certified as the NHLPA agent?
Well, there aren't very many different ways. I mean, what I meant by that was, so first of all, you have to have a client, um, and you have to have a client signed to a standard player agent contract. And so that's one of the criteria. The second criteria is that you have to go through due diligent process with the Players Association where they investigate um, your background and who you are and etc. So there's due diligence there, and that's stringent as it should be, and so you have to be approved.
Of course, what is the process like of finding, of course, players like, let's say, Jeff Skinner? Let's say he doesn't have an agent. What is it like finding somebody like him?
So there's a couple of different things that happen there, Brandon. One of the things is that I've got some young guys that work with me that recruit younger kids that aren't in the NHL. So we get them before they get into the NHL draft. And then there's of course the established players looking for a different agent. And like Jeff Skinner has an agent today, and if he was looking for a different agent, I would, the process would be really just to reach out to Jeff and see what he was looking for and see if there was a fit.
What is the process like of getting the people that don't have an agent that are getting into the draft?
So that is really not only the player, but it's also a family thing, Brandon, where um, you want to go meet the family, get to know the family dynamics, etc. And also, a lot of those people, when they're younger like that, they don't really know what professional sports is all about. So that's an educational process where you share all your experiences, um, and that can be very valuable for that family.
What is a typical day in the life of an NHLPA certified agent?
A lot of reading, a lot of watching um, game video, a lot of time talking on the phone. That's the pandemic version. The non-pandemic version is a lot of going to live games, a lot of meetings, a lot of meeting with players. Um, so travel extensively throughout the NHL and major junior, etc., and a lot of time on the phone.
Of course, before the pandemic, when you went out to games, what were you looking for in players?
So there's a couple things there. First of all, if I was going to watch younger players, I would be looking for potential clients, and I'd have some criteria that that I'm looking for. And then when you're going to games where your clients are playing, you're going there just to support them because you're going to meet with them afterwards. You're going there to see how their team is doing, how they fit in with their team, etc. So it's not scouting, but it's analyzing, I would say.
Of course, once you analyze the players, how long after that do you know is that player gonna make it in the NHL?
Yeah, that's a great question, Brandon. I don't know if you ever really know um, until they do. Things change quickly in professional sports. Um, there's a lot of young kids, players that are really good at 15 years old and they fizzle out. And there's lots of kids that aren't very good at 15 that turn into pros because of different things that happen. And you can't tell for sure. I mean, I think some people might try to say to you, well, we know. Well, they don't know. It's a process. You go through the process and you do the best you can. And if you know, the young guy has to love the game. He's got to be passionate about the game. He's got to be able to work really hard to be better than other players. You can't be looking around to where you are today. You have to look around to where you're going, or look to where you're going, not looking around of where you are at the moment. So I've seen a lot of players change from 15 years old to 30 years old.
Of course, what is it like to see players do a combine? Does, of course, the NHL have a combine like the NFL?
They do. We don't go to that. I know all of the parts of the combine, and I think one of our jobs for our draft eligible guys is to make sure that every athlete is fully prepared and knows what they're getting into when they go to the combine. And there's a lot of interviews, there's a lot of workouts. So strength testing. Um, so there's a lot of different areas there. So we educate our guys on that before they go. So one of the things I like to say is we don't like to have any surprises for our guys.
What is something that you learn now that you didn't know before becoming an NHLPA agent?
Well, Brandon, now you're asking hard questions. I'm not sure. I think everybody evolves, and you know, I think we all know more today than we did 10 years ago, or 20 years ago, 30 years ago. And I don't know if I could pin one thing down, but I'm sure there's a number of them.
What advice would you give somebody looking to work in professional sports?
Well, professional sports is a dream of a lot of young people. There's no doubt about that, and I know that. And sometimes I think about it. I've been around professional sports for a long, long time, and I know that a lot of young guys want to get into the business. I think that first of all, I think it's important that you have to be passionate about the sport you want to be involved in. You have to remember there's all kinds of ways to be in professional sports. Like you could be a marketing person for the Hurricanes, for example, or any NHL team. That's a way into professional sports. You could be somebody that does various clerical jobs. You could work your way into management. You could do analytics. There's all kinds of ways to be involved in pro sports.
What advice would you give people looking to become certified sports agents working in hockey or any sports?
Study hard and be unafraid, be persistent, and chase your dreams.
Where can my listeners find you at on social media?
Okay, so on Twitter, it's at Rick J. Valette. And I think that's about it. I don't have Facebook. I don't have some of the other platforms.
Thank you again, Rick Valette.
Actually, I actually try to stay off social media.
Thank you again, Rick Valette, for your interview and best of luck in your future as an NHLPA certified agent.
Thanks, Brandon. You have a good day.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Rick, for your interview, and best of luck.
Thanks, man.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.